title is Analysis of Synergy between Corporation Reputation and Financial Enhancement and Cultural Heritage Conservation, Value Creation and Capture. So the case study is actually a Puah Kumbu case study, which I already discussed. What is Puah Kumbu PhD? But the high chances and risk that the title would change because I don't think so it's viable to travel to Sarawak and to do it. And I'm also poor to do this research now. So I think the title might be changed, to fit my financial capability. Okay. Can we move to the next title, next slide? Kylie, do you have any questions? Okay, is that okay? Okay. Okay. So here is the objective is to explore the form of relationship that they have between Shell and the stakeholders in Sarawak, Malaysia as a company. So here is what we call not the stakeholders could differ in over period of time because they involve the society and stakeholders like people, the government, the employees, and also other related stakeholders related to this particular project that they have funded. So here it's very limited scope to say in Sarawak as a company. It's actually supposed to be a broader perception rather than the stakeholder. The second objective is to implements a CSR objective in the both of strategic business objective and its social responsibility of environment liabilities. You see, since Shell is oil industry based, they are one of the most damaging business organization that causes harm to the environment. If this is the case, when there's a lot of environment damages done by Shell, how do they actually reverse their social responsibility here? Do they actually, look to how do they manage and preserve the whole environmental issues caused by them? So this is what we are be looking into the prospect on in a total research. As another that I need to add also is the social cost. How do they, the CSR project, have created a social cost? How do they create a value for the intangible asset, which is the Puah Kumbu research? Do they actually create value, or do they actually just sponsor the project for 2 years? Whether it fails or it sustains, it doesn't matter. Does it only enhance their corporate image, or do they actually give back to the society? So these are the things that we will be exploring, the forms of relationship, how they do it, what are the costs involved, how do they go into. I think another point would be the sustainability of the project. Does it self-sustained, or does it actually have to be fit every time, which means it's not sustained. Can I move to the research objective? Research question, the next slide. The the research questions here would be actually exploring elements of CSR, financial performance and value creation. So we will be looking into this, and to which economic sector does the cultural heritage contributes, which means Pua Kumbu. Where does it contribute? Does it contribute to the GNDP, or does it contribute to the um, society only, or does it contribute to the company, to the state's contribution, or it contributes, which sector does it contributes of? How significant is this contribution? Because most in cases, we are not able to evaluate or value the value being contributed by the craft people, especially the craftsmanship. They do see it as a product, but there's always not a valuation of how much they can contribute. They don't put it as a contribution, like oil industry has its own value. How about this craft industry? It reflections of the community, could be valued, so could be measured, but they're not doing it. Are we here doing things correctly, because when something is not valued, you cannot preserve it, you can actually not take steps to actually give back to them. Especially in time of COVID, a lot of artisans had suffered, so we cannot give them the assistance required because we cannot see them as a contributor to the economy. So here the research will be explaining how economic impact the cultural heritage can be measured. Second, how this can express in quantity terms considering the reliability and validity at the territorial level. So only Sarawak, we are looking at Sarawak only. So this could change in a time to come. How can the result impact the cultural heritage across territory to be compared? Okay, if the cultural heritage as a capital asset distinguished from other form of assets by its possession and specific value, whose assessment of value is that to count and how it can be measured? So, how if shall have contributed to it, how are we going to value it? What is the return of the value? So here basically we'll be doing valuation of the craft and also valuation of the CSR project, social cost. To consider the role of CSR in value creation within the organization and society. So can we move to the next slide? So here it is, I have categorized it. So the previous question, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the previous 6 points will actually go to the C1. The last 2 points, the cultural heritage as capital asset and to consider the role of CSR, will go into the C2, the organization, social cost, benefit, and value creation. My research also will be contributing to the sustainable development, which I already discussed in the previous this one. Raji, can we move to the next slide? Oh, this one is it? Okay. Can you go back to the previous slide? Research question, slide number 3. Explain it. Okay.
If cultural heritage.
Yeah, I have finished explaining this.
All right. Okay. Consider.
Hello.
Yeah. I'm listening. Iko, can you bring the flag? Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. It's fine. Not too much. A bit. Be faster. Consider. Consider. Okay. All right. In the organization. Okay. You have quite a number now. All right.
So
Proceed.
if you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6 main points. If you go to the next slide, they're actually covering the C1. The last 2 points were covering C2. It's just a classification, contribution 1 and contribution 2.
Okay. All right. I just want why C, why not Q, why not T? So contribution. All right.
Yeah.
Empowering.
I don't know whether this is correct. It's something that I created, but I don't know whether it's correct or not.
All right, it's okay. Let me understand. At first, we want to understand first. When you have something, we
Okay.
can improve it. A generation of income and sustaining the livelihood and the tradition of Puah Kumbu, Puah Chukang, something else. Empower the, empowering the next
No, it's not
generation.
for Kumbu. It's for Kumbu.
Puah Kumbu, yes.
Yeah.
Puah Kumbu. Empowering the next generation and how the CSR could empower identity and sustainability, all right? The organization have considered the social costs and benefits a product or service. Okay, and this is the contribution. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
in order to understand this contribution, the research questions will actually play a role. How does this contribution could be taken over through the research questions?
All right. Okay. Oh. All right. All right. Okay.
Oh.
All right. Proceed. Proceed. Let me. Uh, continue, Praveena.
Can we go to the next slide? So I already discussed about this in the previous presentation. The research will be actually contributing to the sustainable development goal, but I think a lot of people said it's quite useless because every time the sustainable goal will change over a period of time. So yeah, this is like window dressing or color washing for the corporate, to actually say that we are doing this, but I don't know whether it's equitable to measure this or not, but it is. I feel it's nice to have it, so I put it. I retained it. So the sustainable development will support SDG 4, SDG 11, and 16. Can we go to the next slide? So this is how um, it will go into the next slide, the problem statement. So this is related to the sustainable development problem statement. So I think this will change over a period of time. This is something same to the contribution. I have just retained this in case we want to revisit it or something like that. So this is something I converted to the contributions already. I think we can skip the slide. Can we go to number 7? So the method will be using an inductive approach for qualitative data analysis. So this is how I think I want to do the methodology of the research. But I'm still in a very basics when come to this. Can I go to the next slide? So it will be inductive approach will be a totally a different approach to what we discussed by eco yesterday. So this will be having observation. A social phenomena is observed. How it is done? Then I have to go for data gathering. Data is collected. A possible reason why it occurs in data are being examined. Hypothesis. I haven't come up with a hypothesis, but there should be a hypothesis. Uh, oh, so sorry. We can change the color. So got it. Sorry. Oh, so sorry. Sorry, I was in Deepavali mood, so the colors like that.
Yellow is the Pavalim.
So sorry. So a theory that we have to
I thought it's
develop
very
a new
colorful.
theory.
So
A new theory is supposed to be developed. So we have the hypothesis. We will look into the hypothesis and benchmark it with the theory, because they always will say that the craft, CSR is just CSR is normally it's multi-phased. They don't have a particular fixed how a CSR should be. So it's always multi-phased. So we would look into the theories of how CSR could not especially in a time of COVID and now, CSR is, it's very diverse. That it's agility. We need to have agility in when it comes to CSR now, whether it's agile to sustain a project that they are supplying the funding for CSR. Is it agile? Is it worth it or not? So from there, I hope to develop a new theory to actually show the relevancy of the value creation, because they like to say that um, craft are always cannot be valued. So I'm a bit ambitious here to actually create a new theory. Can I move to the next slide? So this is how it's going to be, the inductive method, vast data creation from multiple resources, and then I will analyze the conceptual analysis and then overarching theory. So I have to come up with a theory model. Is that okay? I think I have. So it's from inductive is like a pyramid from a bigger scope to, I think I put the wrong model here. It should be like a pyramid, a big one coming to the down one. No. This is supposed to be, very sorry. I think I confused. It's supposed to be.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Vast data collection
Okay.
from multiple resources. Resources or sources? Sources, yeah. Conceptual analysis, overarching theory model. Okay, all right.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Continue, Praveena.
Finish already.
Oh, you finished. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Do you have something that is much more developed this time than the previous one, which is good? After all, this is only their second presentation, right? And then the way we do our
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
So, can you hear me? Alarm?
Can.
Can. Okay. Okay. So the way we carry out our supervision and our the PhD journey is that I get you all to get into presentation as fast as possible, and then to develop clarity to through that presentation, especially the research questions. Yeah. So even though it doesn't look clear at the beginning, which is usually the case, right? And then it becomes clearer and clearer and clearer as we have. So with presentation, we do not have to wait until the chapters are being written to discuss the ideas you have in mind. Yeah? Otherwise, what happens is when you wait until the chapters are written, there are limitations to the discussion you could have, the interactive discussion you have through presentation. Uh, okay, let's go and see, revisit your slide. Um, let's go to your slide number 1. Let's go to your title first, yeah? Okay. Analysis of synergies between corporate reputation and financial enhancement and cultural heritage, conversation, value creation, and capture. Okay, there's I think that a bit too many stuff in the research title here. It's all right. We
Yeah,
will
I think
revisit.
now
We,
change it.
we will revisit it. It's okay. As you become clearer, we can improve the title. But in essence, your title will have the corporate reputation. You had the financial enhancement. Number 2, you have cultural heritage conservation, value creation. That's number 4. Cultural heritage conservation, value creation, right? There's one concept there, right, Praveena? Are you with me, Praveena?
Yeah, Harry. Yeah, I feel like I'm too poor to go Sarawak now. So can we do like innovation value creation, Dr. Vishak?
Okay, we will discuss it as we,
Later.
we will go through the process, and then I just want to capture what you're saying in your title first, right? And then we,
Yeah,
so you
corporate
have your,
reputation. important.
corporate reputation,
Financial enhancement,
financial enhancement,
which is there.
cultural
And then
heritage.
heritage conservation, I don't think so. Value creation and capture value. How do you creation of value? I think these are the three things is quite important here. Proper reputations, synergy, to analyze the synergy. Synergies is also quite important. Synergy, proper reputation, financial enhancement, value creation, and capture.
All right. Okay. So value creation and capture, is that one concept or is it a separate concept?
It's a separate concept. How do you create a value on it? And then later you have to, I think it's not the capture. I think it should be the sustainability of it. So if you create the value, how do you sustain it? Because now it's so dynamic, the world. You cannot create a value and keep to it. So the value has to change. So I think it will be value creation, and I don't know what is that, the next one.
Okay. At least you're honest. That's a good thing, right? It's good. Right? Okay. Well, okay. We have three plus one concept. The one is not sure yet. Yeah. So it could be
Yeah,
capture. It could be release. It could be sustainability. It could be whatever the fourth one. So three plus one there. All right. So I just
yeah.
want to get the general idea of your research title first. Yeah. So you're interested in the reputation, interested in the finances, you're interested in the heritage, value creation of whatever you're doing there, okay? And then the fourth one, leaving it open first, yeah? Okay. So you're studying CSR, the Shell CSR project on Puah Kumbu, right? But you might have problem going to Sarawak because of financial constraint and so on. So you might shift it to something else. Okay, let's go to your second slide. Okay, this is the objective. What I'll do is this: I'll skip the objective. I'll go back to the objective but I want to understand the research questions. As I said before, many times, all research is about answering research questions, right? So let's go to research questions. You have quite a number of research questions here. Thank you, Raji. Yeah. Um, the relationship between CSR and financial performance and value creation. So that is not a research question. You want to you want to know what is the relationship, I suppose, yeah? Is that
Oh, okay.
am I right? So you got to phrase it
Yeah.
into research question. So research
Okay.
question is what, how, why. That's
Oh,
a
the
research.
why? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I
Okay.
think this is
So
a.
what is the relationship between CSR and financial performance and value creation? So that is your first question. I'm just restating what you're doing in a question format, right? And then we will go more in depth in discussing that. So you will need to look at CSR, you will need to look at financial performance, and you will need to look at value creation. That is the
Isn't it?
general. What's that?
Isn't it a lot or?
It could be a lot. So I want to understand first before evaluating it. So that's the
Oh.
first one. So the next one is how, what, to which economic sectors does cultural heritage contribute? Okay, this is a simple identifying what the economic sectors are. So maybe we want to rephrase that, right? Um, so you're interested to know what economic sectors cultural heritage contribute. Am I right, Praveena? All right.
Yes. That
Okay.
point of time I was interested, but now since this poor thing came up, so I don't think so that when we change these things happens. I think we have to look into which economic sector that the fundings helps into CSR if they decided to help the economic part of it. So, like for example, Shell has this, and then Petronas also does social innovation. So, can we just leave it like which economic sector does the CSR contributes?
Okay, let's have that first. Then let me understand the big picture, and then we will go deeper into the discussion on research questions. Ooh. Oh, you use your laptop, yeah, Raja. Share it with me then. Share the because I can share it too. Hmm? Alright. Oh, you have a backup. That's good. Roger things with the backup. Okay, we have that. Nah, okay. Just now something went wrong. So Roger has a backup system going on. Good thinking, good, but then it's not here though. It's not being shared yet, right? Yeah. Okay. Just a minute, everyone. Technology has trained us to be more patient or angry.
I guess electricity off.
What's that?
I guess electricity off.
Oh no, please don't. Then we have problem. Okay, here we have the research questions again. So that was the second one. Praveena, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
All
you.
right, good, wonderful. So now let me understand first. So I understand your second question or second point, second bullet point there. The third one is how significant is the contribution, right? So
Yeah.
that is connected to the second question. Am I right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so if they actually help in particular, like social innovation, they help in particular sector. Is that sector is going to grow up? For example, I one of the sectors like they look into was this dating app in India. They had this technology advancement in India, so it's a part of this government policy to actually do technology knowledge for the students in technology development for the students in the schools and also for the corporate. So what happened was they created a dating app in India. So during that particular COVID time, the dating app had used to actually get the plasma donors matched with the people they want to.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right.
So
Okay. So that it can
can
be
you
measured
hear
that
me?
way. So all right.
So
So
yes. So how does this economy? So that dating app was particularly a product that it was invented for the the technology enhancement has been used to boost their technology usage, the coding system and everything. So but when COVID hits, nobody wanted to go dating, so the app was down. So what they did was they actually use it for to match the plasma donors with the people who needed it, and also for the people who blood donation they did a matching towards it. So you see that has actually advanced the technology knowledge, and because of this the company of other companies want to contribute to the CSR so that the technology knowledge of the students also can be enhanced. See, so this kind of agility is important. How can we improve the economic sector?
okay, let's go back to your research question here. How can
Yeah,
economic impact? How can the economic impact of cultural heritage be measured? So
I
still
think the
about
cultural heritage will have to be changed later, isn't it? Because
okay. Value creation, right? Something like that, right? You want to change it
yeah,
to okay, all
something
right,
like to
all right.
then
Value creation, all right, right, okay. And then so how can economic impact of value creation be measured? So that is another question. How can this be so the question number 2, 3, and 4 is actually connected, right?
yeah,
So they're all about economic sectors, right? So you want to know
yeah,
whether there is a contribution to economic sector. You want to know which economic sector receive the contribution from the cultural heritage or the social innovation or the value creation, and then you are interested
yeah,
to see how significant this contribution is, and you want to know how to measure it, right? Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because I think goes back to this one, because people always think that CSR is just about contributing. They're multi-faced, but it's just a one way that they contribute, because to have a good financial enhancement, to make the company actually look good, because they are making profit. But at the back of the end, CSR has to change now to actually do a value creation in the community, because they are something that they can do. For example, the app, during COVID also, Apple came out with something, blah blah, data collection, all this. So
okay.
which can actually do a value creation of CSR. CSR is not only about contributing to the society one way, it's supposed to be two way.
All right. All right. Okay.
Is that a lot? Did I tell you a lot?
No. We're sticking to research questions first. Then we will
Okay, okay.
then we will go beyond the research question. So we're still on research questions right now, because research question is the most important part of your research. How can this
Mm-hmm.
be expressed in quantitative terms, considering reliability and validity and the territorial level? Okay, so again, you're asking the measurement question here, right? But you're asking a measurement question on the quantitative dimension. How can you measure it quantitatively, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's still about economic. It's still about contribution to economic sector, right? So
Yeah,
that's okay.
exactly.
So and then you have how can the results on the impact of cultural heritage or value creation across territories be compared? So how you are still looking at the impact of that across territories, right? So here we are talking about we are still if you talk about results, then it's everything under the sun. We are focusing on economic impact. Am I right? Or you're not?
Yes,
Economic
I'm
impact,
looking
right?
at the economic measurement, value creation
Still
measurement.
okay. All right. So
Because the reason is CSR is always linked into society's
yeah,
contribution
you
one
said
way.
that
So
Praveena. Now I got that point about that it should be two ways. That then there must be economic impact as well. Okay.
uh,
I just want to understand the research questions first. The rationale is fine. If the cultural heritage, in this case, you want to change cultural heritage to value creation, right? As a capital asset is distinguished from other forms of asset, okay, by its possession of a specific type of value, whose assessment of that value is to be count and how is it to be measured?
mhm. Oh, doctor, are you there?
I'm there, but you probably yours yeah your connection is poor now. Maybe next time
Yeah,
when next time you come to Sampris,
I
then
will
if
come to St. Priest.
yeah, next time you come to
Okay,
Sampris. Not
okay,
today, not
okay.
today, not now. Next time. Next time. To consider the role of CSR in creating value within organization and society. All right. You have a whole lot of questions here. Let's streamline your question, yeah, Praveena. I just when I have this dialogue with you, I want to understand your what you want to get at. So you are very interested to look at. So now you gotta tell me what is it that you want to look at. Wait, is it cultural heritage or is it value creation? What is it?
It's, I think, more of a value creation. It's supposed to be cultural heritage, because uh, cultural heritage was like, uh, you know, uh, normally not looked upon. So, but now, if you after COVID, I think have impacted me a lot. It's not only cultural heritage; everything that we looked. Social innovation is something that we always don't look at. So that is the reason.
So you're looking at value creation now, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
value
so
creation.
the independent variable is value
Value
creation.
creation.
Okay. Example
The
of value
dependable
creation.
variable will be something like, because social innovation also could be part of cultural heritage. How do you do it?
Example of value creation.
What is that?
What is an example of a value creation in your context, in your research?
Oh, value creation. Yeah, value creation. like you create value, like
Yeah.
for example, the Puah Kumbu like batik.
Uh-huh.
It's like how you create value is like how do you create value is um you put a value, a price tag towards it.
What's it?
um how do I tell you to you? Value creation, like, okay, let's say yeah, very good. Like CSR,
Yeah.
like
CSR,
like
right?
go and support this particular Puah Kumbu, right? So the supplies change of it, because when you support a project, there should be a value for the Puah Kumbu. So like how it's like how much does, because the Puah Kumbu has stories, oral documentation. So how does the stories goes into a very old method, that value. So the story covers a lot of oi, sorry, very noisy. Sorry.
What the? Speak up.
Okay, Praveena, continue. It's okay, it's okay.
Speak up.
Is that was that is that a mosquito or a fly or a bee?
Sorry.
If it's a fly, I would. It's not. But it's a bee, is forgivable, you know.
Sorry.
So
It's
it's okay.
noisy. I cannot concentrate. It's an economic value. So that particular supply chains, do they have value or not? So when CSR they go into and support the Puah Kumbu,
Uh-huh.
do they like the Puah Kumbus, like example, when Shell goes into Puah Kumbu, they destroy some of the akar which give color to the Puah Kumbu. If they destroy it, what will happen? Is there any alternative?
Okay, when you say Puah
Uh,
Kumbu, right, Praveena, you're referring to the not the people you're talking about, that piece of cloth, right?
yes, exactly.
Like
Piece of cloth.
it's like batik cloth, right? It's like a textile, right? A textile, right?
Yeah,
A piece of
textile, huh?
clothing,
But it's
yeah.
not only a piece of cloth. There's a lot of information into that. The culture value, the oral
Yes, yes.
documentations. It's
Okay,
more
yeah.
than that.
Yeah, so that we all understand what Puah Kumbu is. So it's a art, it's a craft, right? It's a craft. It's
Yes,
a
it's a
yeah, it's a
craft.
craft, right? It's a traditional craft that is
Yeah, see, now you only think it as a piece of cloth, you see. But
yeah.
so my project would tell you it's not a piece of cloth. There's a lot of other information. This is value creation.
Okay.
Huh.
All
Correct,
right.
correct.
So
Correct.
so uh, so that's why I'm asking you what's the it. The it is Puah Kumbu, right?
Yeah.
It is Puah Kumbu, right? And Puah Kumbu
Oh,
is Puah Kumbu as a is the from the physical sense is the material, the right. So now I'm
yes.
asking you, what is the value creation? You tell me what is the value creation. Example of value creation.
Just now you only tell it is a piece of cloth only. For you, it's a piece of cloth, right? So,
I'm
but
just
that
describing it.
beyond the piece of cloth, there's stories on it, colors on it, a lot of things. So that is value creation. Each of it got a value for it. You understand?
Uh, uh, the color is value.
Yes, that's value for the color. Assuming they are taking it, okay, like this yellow, there's this yellow, right? But
Yes.
that yellow, they will take it from the akar. So
Okay.
if Shell destroys that akar, what will happen? Because it's a herbs, it's not only used for colors, they also use it for medicational value. If Shell goes into that and create the refinery, they actually damages the environment.
Okay.
So what
So
will happen?
so I need you to describe the value creation. So the what is the
Okay,
value creation? If you're not clear, then your research questions are not clear, and
okay.
so I need you to be able to describe the value creation. So the value creation is what? By having Puah Kumbu preserved, you're also preserving the roots of some valuable herbs. So that is a value creation, for instance. I'm just following what you're saying. I'm just repeating what you're saying, yeah, Praveena. So by preserving the puak kumbu, right, which is a material, a piece of cloth, right? People might see it as a piece of cloth, but by preserving that piece of cloth, you're preserving the source that produces that piece of cloth, and that source comes from, example, the roots that they also
The
provide.
material, the
Yeah, so
material.
you will need to identify. It is not something that I need to solve. You need to solve that thing.
Okay, good.
You see what
Sorry,
I mean?
sorry.
And then and if you're doing inductive research, right, you will need to identify these things, right?
Oh,
Am I right? Yes. Okay. So you will need to go and what you need to identify what the value creation is, right? And so you will need to identify the value creation from this Puakumbu. You will need to research on the value creation this Puakumbu, right? So you need to identify the types of value creation, right? Is it a medicinal value? Is it diversity, ecological diversity of the forest? Or is it what is it, the cultural pride? So that's also value creation, right? So you will need to identify those things, right? So you will need a methodology to identify the value creation, right? So your research question should include what is the value creation of Puakumbu, right? Um,
also, if I don't do Pakumbo, if I do something else also, so I need to identify what is the value creation the CSR contributes. Is that correct?
Not the CSR, the thing itself first, right? The CSR is the second thing. Am I right? Because
Oh,
so you replace the Puakumbu with batik. You can replace the batik with tongkat Ali.
anything else? The model
Whatever
has
you
to
want to
be
research
that.
on, right? Because you are not sure what you want to research on right now, it seems.
So, so if I want to create a model that can measure anything, it can be Pakumbu, Bate, it can be Songket, whatever. So that model has to have a value creation. Is that correct? Can
That
I
is
capture it that way?
the, if you're developing a model, then the model need to be specific uh, about something, right? So
Can it be like use it for everything? Like social innovation, they go and do youth preservation, so the youth engagement, so that value creation is like, okay, these are the questions that you need to ask when you do a CSR. Are we creating value? It's like a model. They can actually say, okay, I want to invest in company A for CSR, so automatically they must trigger all this. That is the case I'm looking at.
okay, so you're interested to develop a model to measure value creation. Is that what you want to do now?
Yes, whenever you're
Okay.
doing a CSR, because that is what lacking.
All right. So you do see that you're changing your research questions now, right? I'm just asking about research question now. You realize that,
Oh,
right?
am I changing it? Oh, okay.
Okay. Which is fine. It's fine. It's okay. I'm just That's why we have this dialogue, so that we need to reach clarity of
Oh,
what what you really want. That's
so
so
I want to have this
like
CSR before when they go and invest. They must have this thought. Okay, I'm creating this value because every time they go and dump in, they just dump in the money for CSR.
uh-huh,
You
uh-huh.
know, there is no sustainability. They just
Yes.
okay dump in. For example, they did they start giving up supply for the COVID. It's just dumping in. We don't know whether people need the money or do they need a job employment. What value do they create?
Yes, yes.
Is it, so that is where I want to make them a bit smarter. Think like, is it creating value or not?
Okay, all right. I can sense right now, beginning to sense what you want to do, or what clarity you're reaching right now. So you want to come up with some kind of model of measuring value creation. Am I right?
Yes,
Okay, all right.
exactly. Before
Okay.
this, you didn't know, is it, doctor? Before this, you were confused what I was doing.
There are measurement of CSR impact. There are different measurements of CSR impact. They are out there, right? But now let's be specific. So you yourself need to be clear first about what you want to do, what you plan to do, so that we can move forward with your research. So
Okay.
you're interested to come up with a model to measure value creation, right? Okay.
Yes.
So let's zoom in further with this thinking of yours, right? This research inquiry of yours, right? And you are interested. So example that you're focusing more on cultural heritage, right? Value creation from cultural heritage. Am I right?
Yeah,
Or you're
because that time I think I can go, got money, but now I think it's a bit difficult for me. So I was just, and with COVID also, so I was just thinking, can we be a bit broader? All the sectors can use it like
all
that.
sector now. You
Like not to say all sectors, like sectors like CSR sectors.
then maybe you want to identify. It's not a question that not research not a question that I answer. It's a question you answer.
Oh,
Right. You want to go broad or you want to go specific, right? Now my thought when it comes to viability of PhD success, you go specific, right?
specific, huh? So
Yes.
specific means what industry? Do I stick to cultural heritage or because this is very expensive? It's about 20K. I just did the calculation. I can send it over to you. It's like 20K. So I don't know. Even I don't know how to get 20K now. So I think it's difficult. So it is more to I don't know 20K. I was over ambitious when I submit this.
Okay, so coming back to your PhD now, so what is it that you want to research on? Is it still cultural heritage, or is it something that is of interest? This is your PhD, Praveena, not mine. I know what I'm interested in. And you still want to do my PhD. I have I do not want to do PhD anymore. He says, no, I don't want to do PhD anymore. It's your PhD. What is it you're interested in? Right?
Yeah. So I think now I have to give it a thought sometime. Is that okay?
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's good. Now
Because
give you share with you some options, right? So
yeah,
I think the orientation of your thinking can be facilitate with some possibility, some options thinking. So you can choose an option that the corporates would like to sponsor if you want to do that. Then you
oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay, that is one type of option. The other type of option is something that you have passion about, right?
Something I have passion about doesn't matter now because without my passion, if no money, how to do it? So that is another question I have.
Okay, all right, okay. Now we are just brainstorming. I'm just helping you to brainstorm, yeah, Praveena, right? So one is
My
what the
passion should
corporates
not
like.
be
The second one
should
is
not
your
be
own
like the
passion. Well, the second one is your own passion. And the third one, maybe you go to the community around you and you ask, how can you help with the community? Sometimes by connecting with the community, you get inspired. Now I give you an example. I give few examples, right? One example, Dr. Wong Teck Aun. Wong Teck Aun, his CSR, right, is about studying the wet market, the wet market of Jelutong, which he has complete access to, basically 24 hours,
oh
right? To study the wet market where the fishmonger, the butcher, the vegetables, and he developed. We did together on a theoretical development and published some good papers on CSR model that which challenged the Carroll's pyramid, right? The very strong established
yeah, sir.
Carroll's pyramid, so based on something almost zero cost to access, except to take the car or the motorbike or the bicycle to go to that market and to interview the aunties that selling vegetables, the uncles that are a butcher, the people who sell drinks and all that. So he developed a different concept of CSR by looking at the wet market, looking at wet market as an entity, a CSR entity. So and he carried out interviews. He also carried out observation, right? He did observation. So that is very community. He argues that the wet market is a form of CSR because the existence of wet market create sustainability of the community, right? Because there's linkage, there's relationship between the people, the neighborhood, right, with the people who sell us. In fact, there's generation, right? My father and then and then the children will take over the father's business, and then the relationship with the families, they know the families there. So it's like, Tesco or Giant or Carrefour do not have that relationship with the community. Right? It's very transient, very capitalistic. They try to create loyalty card and all that. It doesn't create loyalty. Yeah, it does create, but it's very transactional loyalty. But here, and then we develop different typologies of of business CSR businesses. The livelihood type, the legacy type, and the social lifestyle type. So they go into business because it's just a lifestyle. They have a big business. They sold the big business. They just want to sell char kway teow. Simple as that. So that doesn't cost anything, Praveena. So that's the type. So or you can pursue the passion that you have. You told me, and when we came over and discussed with me, you talked about the temple, the Hindu temple.
I don't want, don't want. I don't want.
Oh, you don't want that one? Okay. That type, I'm not sure you're passionate about that. Yeah. Whatever your passion is, right? Yeah, can pursue that one as well, right?
No, I'm looking into what the company sponsors
Uh-huh.
and then tell them, actually, are you doing the correcting things or not? For example, they sponsor something, they put in the CSR, they boast about themselves, they are sponsoring this, they're sponsoring that. But are they really worth to sponsor? Are you doing the correct thing?
Okay,
Corporate
okay.
people only will take care of their image. But you see, like you said, the wet market create legacy, they have built the relationship. Is the corporate company doing this?
They cannot do that.
Are we?
By definition, they
Yes.
cannot do that
So how do
because
we
corporates are
actually
too
do that?
big.
Because they sponsor for 2 years. That's it. They don't want to sponsor it. How they? So you tell so when you sponsor them for 2 years, are you doing a study that the sponsoring need 2 years or beyond it? Or they only need for 1 year, they have to be self-employed, or the project needs about 5 years sponsoring for you to see the impact. So this company likes to just get a limelight of their company being sponsoring. Are they smart enough? Are they doing the correct thing or not? That is my question. So if we can look into what the company have sponsored in Penang or something like that, that will make more of.
Sure, you can do that. If this is your PhD, so you choose what topic you want. So now what value creation
Oh,
that you
I'm
want to
okay.
look at, right? Is it a CSR in cultural heritage, CSR in what area? You can ask the question, or CSR in youth. I know there's different type of value creation if they invest money in youth, or if they invest money, they put money in what is it, education, the CSR in environment, right? So the different types of CSR projects.
So can we actually, like yesterday you told us, you can actually look into multi companies. So like we pick one of our partners who looks into the social, Shell who looks into culture heritage, and another one. Can we do like that, Noah? So that we actually have like and few things that we cover: social, environmental, and sustainability. Is it possible or too ambitious?
My thought, if you want to do one model of value creation, you need to focus on one particular type of CSR, right? Then you do
Oh,
comparison, right? Then you can develop a kind of model that is applicable across different companies. But
Yes.
right, so if you're looking at cultural heritage, you look at what Petronas sponsors. You can look at what Shell sponsors if they sponsor. You can look at what Shangri-La sponsors, right? Shangri-La has they have the hotels have it. What Motorola, you're with GSB last time. Like Motorola is big with GSB, so Motorola.
They like to sponsor the batik.
They sponsor batik.
I,
Motorola.
they
Motorola
like to
sponsor a
get
lot of
wear the
things.
batik baju. I don't know whether they're still wearing the.
They sponsor a lot of
No,
things.
they like to wear the batik baju. Like they
The
say, it's
uniform is
supporting the
batik. I know
batik.
that, but they sponsor a lot of things. They sponsor education. They do sponsor education. They sponsor science education. Actually, to be specific, they sponsor that, and
Damn.
there's so they teach kids on robotics, small robotics kind of thing. Yeah. They go to poor schools and teach robotics. Yeah, GSB is connected to Motorola, right? It so happens that I kind of was with the founding committee of CSR in Penang last time. So you will need to identify that area of CSR first, Praveena, yeah? You identify that,
Okay.
right? Be clear about what you want to do. So now at least I understand your direction of your thinking. So if I can sum up a bit, you are interested to develop a model of value creation, a model of measuring value creation by a corporate sponsored CSR,
Yeah.
right? Okay, and right, so so you need to identify what particular. So as I said just now, it can be CSR about the environment, CSR about cultural heritage, CSR about health, CSR about education. You identify that particular, and then and then you start thinking about rephrasing
So,
your
do you
research
think,
question.
from your experience, do you think what is very much important now? Health is important, right?
Health
Your
is
your
in
preferences.
my. Also, you want to decide on what is important, or is that
Yeah, your point of view, you think, because what is important would be,
important to the
what
companies, or important to the society, or important to what?
important of two things: important to the company, important of society, and most importantly, if I can finish it on time. No, that is
All
the other
right,
thing.
that's actually a very important one. uh, in that case, you want to identify something, a project that has a beginning and end that doesn't take too long to complete the project. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Okay, so if
also creates impact to the society.
all right, so what you want to do is would be good if you're asking that question. Yeah, you're asking a PhD question to me right now, right? You want to look at a CSR project that has a lot of stakeholders, a lot of beneficiaries. So you
A
can
lot of stakeholders. Huh?
a lot not stakeholders, beneficiaries. Not a lot of
Oh,
stakeholders, a lot of beneficiaries, right? Of course, beneficiaries
beneficiaries.
are stakeholders also, right? So you think about what CSR has a lot of beneficiaries. So it could be on youth or youth sports, or if you're talking about health, you know, you got to identify who's getting the benefit from this CSR project. The more people get the benefit, it is better for you, where you can get access to a lot of data.
Okay.
You see what I mean? Okay. And then the project is not 1 year project. The project is 1 month, 1 week type project that they repeat many times, preferably. Okay.
Okay.
So here you're going the pragmatism approach. You're not asking the passion approach. You're not asking the idealism approach. You're doing the practical approach, right? Of making decision making. What is the good way to assess? And then you might also think about Praveena, about certain types of CSR that is not by design or that is called CSR. Example, welfare of foreign workers in the factory, right? That's called internal CSR, right?
Yeah, the employee point of view, right?
Employee, yes. For me, if you ask me what's the most important CSR, I'll tell you the internal CSR is the most important CSR and the product CSR, because those two things are under direct control of the companies, right? If somebody dies, they'll be asked, what have you helped? What have you done to help the people underneath you, and what have you done to harm the society? The product they
Oh,
sell, whether the product set harm the society or not, that's called product responsibility. So at least produce products that do not harm the society, right? So anyway, that doesn't help much, but the employee, the internal CSR. So if you ask me the question, a practical question, not a passion question, not anything question, right? Practical question. What type of CSR that has a lot of beneficiaries or stakeholders in this case, of course, will be employees in the factories. There are thousands of them. Thousands, right? And then, and by the way, they are afraid. The companies are afraid to reveal. So if you want to go, the critical CSR approach, this would be great advantage. So look, I have of employee CSR, your internal community CSR. This is, we can measure your CSR program for the employees. What have you done for your employees? How you take care of their living. You see, one of the problems of pandemic is that, remember what this Dato Sarabanan was saying, right? Is the human resource minister. He says, look, the conditions almost like slave-like conditions. There's some of these workers are living in containers. Containers, the containers, right? Remember
yeah,
that? You remember that? Datuk
slums.
Saravanan was saying, Datuk Saravanan, right? The
Yeah,
human resource,
slum area, like slum area.
the slum area. So that alone is a lot of CSR that you can help. You really can help society. You can really help the company. And I will go one step further. I will come up with rating system. 5 star, 4 star, 3 star, 2 star, rotten star, you know. And they will publish in the blog, and then they'll be afraid. They'll go, "Oi, Praveena, come, I'll hire you as a consultant. How do I improve the living condition of my employees?" There you go. That would be an Indonesian type approach.